Happy Thursday. Welcome into the UDDA Winner podcast. Dan Black with you. Join me as always is SportyJordy, and we have a special guest with us from our UDDA team, Michael Kirshner, aka Kirsch. Kirsch, how are we doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Doing very well. Happy Christmas Eve or
the eve of Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Or Festivus. Do we have any grievances that we'd like to put out before we start the show?
I got a lot of problem with you people.
Jordy, you have any grievances?
No. I think everything's good. I'm a big Christmas elf. I got my Christmas lights going on up here. This is a very important time of year for me. Me and my sister, we still act like children around Christmas time. We still carry out every tradition that we had as kids. And my mom's like, it's okay. We can grow up. We can drop a few things. And we're like, no, this is crucial. I'm icing Christmas cookies tonight with my grandparents and my cousins that are also all fully grown. So it's just the best time of year.
Peter
Wonderful
Pan.
time of the year.
Yes.
Exactly. My only grievance would be that there should be no quarterbacks allowed to win MVP this year with how Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor have played.
I could agree with that. I think that's a good grievance to have.
They've been too good to give it to anyone else besides them.
And Aaron Rodgers would be a menace if he wins it 2 years in a row. He'll be intolerable.
Yes, exactly. Festivus, Christmas this weekend. Very excited. Welcome into the UDDA Winner podcast. We're going to start as we normally do with the NFL. And of course, we have some great gridiron games for you this weekend. We have our high roller contest, our play action contest, and our NFL Hail Mary contest. So just head into the UDDA app and join all three of our gridiron games for this weekend. And then, of course, we have our ongoing NCAA football Deep Pockets contest. That's going until the end of bowl season. That's been live for a week. I've had a lot of people join. It's been very fun to watch the early parts of bowl season, watch, get ready for the Duke's Mayo Bowl and that other kind of stuff. And, of course, the New Year's Six. So plenty of good contests to choose from in our UDDA app.
The Duke's Mayo Bowl, do you think how they, in the Idaho Potato Bowl, they douse the coach in French fries? Do you think they should douse the coach in mayonnaise for the Duke Mayo Bowl?
That would be so hysterical. Yeah, I would love everything about that.
It'd be gross, but it'd be funny.
Oh, it'd be so funny.
It would smell like eggs and whatever else they make. What do they make mayo out of?
Don't tell me because I love mayo. So if it's gross, I'm going to be...
It is gross. It's
I know.
It's not good. NFL. Anyway, to recap last week, Jordy, you took a little bit of a lead. You got a little bit of an edge, 4-1 to my 3-2. You are now 24-10-1. I am 22-13 on this season. Losers and winners. Let's start as we do with the losers. We were losers for having to watch the Bears, I would say.
That was and did you hear that was the most watched Monday Night Football game in a very long time?
That infuriates me.
Yeah, no, because it was gruesome to watch. And Dan, we can relate to this as Eagles fans, especially. We needed the Bears to win that game for the Eagles to get ahead. So I was gung-ho Bears going into that. And Kirk Cousins never won 2 primetime games back to back. I was like, oh, he had a great game against the Steelers. Let's watch the Vikings crumble. Let's watch Justin Fields just have a day. And no, it was actually terrible, horrific to watch.
Yeah, Kirsch, what was your takeaway from watching the atrocity that is the Chicago Bears?
Listen, I mean, they're the Bears and the Giants. I'm a lifelong Giants fan, but lived in Chicago for 6 years. So have a lot of exposure to the Bears and obviously a lot of good friends who are Bears fans. I feel like those two franchises, once really proud franchises, are in very similar positions where they really need to rethink about how they go about their business, rethink their front office, rethink their just philosophy on drafting, their philosophy on coaching and general managers. And I really think it's time for both of them to start over. It's those two proud franchises, man, they're just shells of themselves right now.
Yeah, the Bears desperately need, obviously, we know about the Mitch Trubisky blunder that was, that really set them back quite a bit. I mean, it got them eventually Justin Fields, but he can't do it alone. They have a ton of issues. Offensive line is bad. They put everything in their defense, and it's still not very good.
Yeah.
No receivers.
To me, at this point, you've had 6 different quarterbacks in there under Matt Nagy, and you can't find one that genuinely works. I'm saying it's not the quarterbacks at this point, and I think Matt Nagy might be the problem. So I'm
You think?
hoping. You think? Yeah. I'm hoping that this is the season that we finally can cut ties there and move on and start to rebuild and find something that actually works, because you can't put the finger anywhere else anymore. It hasn't been working. It's not working. It's time to move on.
Yeah, and I would just, to wrap this up is like, I think they as a franchise need to just understand their branding is not the 85 Bears. Like, you don't play football that way anymore. And I feel like they've for the last 36 years have tried to be that and just have had an inability to move with the times. And
It's interesting because you talk about the Giants and the Bears. They're probably the two most conservative as you think about the brand, the strategy, run, pass, opposed to open. Look, the Giants had some decent years with Eli opening up the offense, but these teams have always been built around defense. They've always been built around the running game. They've always been built around, trying to win in December and January with, you're just pounding the football and playing good defense. But that doesn't matter anymore if you can't get into the playoffs. And by the way, the league has moved on from that.
Right.
It's just a different league. And I just think they both need totally different philosophies moving forward.
Yeah, there needs to be a complete reboot. The Cardinals are also a part of our losers of this weekend. Jordy, I see the face palm there.
Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. I remember going into the half, it was 16-0, and I was like, you know what? The Lions have a tendency of like starting off strong, but then for some reason they always blow it and it ends up being close, but the other team ends up on top. And I was like, this is the Arizona Cardinals we're talking about. Everything's going to be fine. And then they come out of the half, Cardinals on a 4th and goal, get nothing. Chose not to go for a field goal. Then they end up with no points. Then the Lions come out the next drive and score another touchdown. And I was like, no, this game is over. I was like, the Lions are actually about to beat the Cardinals here. And after the Cardinals lost to the Rams the week prior, it was devastating. And on one hand, I was really happy because I don't love the Lions, but like I support the Lions, and I feel bad for
you can't hate guilty. The Lions.
You can't hate because what are they gonna do? Like, so, and I love Dan Campbell. I love what he's doing there. I kind of love the whole vibe. They won one game and they celebrated like they won the Super Bowl. So it's a wholesome vibe there. So I didn't want to like hate them for beating the Cardinals, but at the same time, I was like so frustrated because the Cardinals are a team that even before the season even started, I was like, they're a Super Bowl team. They're going to be unstoppable. And they kind of were. And then the last 2 weeks to see them have these 2 brutal losses, it was really tough for me. It was very sad, but hopefully, and we'll talk about it a little bit more later on, but hopefully this week they can kind of start to figure it out a little bit.
They screwed my parlay.
Yeah, they screwed a parlay for me too. I was like, this is a given. I would have been 5-0 this week if the Cardinals won in our picks.
It's true.
Freaking Lions.
By the way, both of you guys are very impressive records on your picks. Congratulations.
I was very down, and I've made a miraculous comeback. Jordy got too confident.
I did get too confident. Hey, in my defense, I still haven't had a losing week, but I got stuck in the 3-2 trend for multiple weeks in a row, and Dan was in the 4-1s, and he started really catching up to me. But now I feel a lot better with a 2-game lead on you. So we'll see what happens. It's getting close.
Not a fan of the Cardinals after last weekend. Off that.
We'll see. Picks this week are definitely going to be interesting.
Yes. All right, let's talk about the final loser because it involves sort of in a separate sense both of our teams that we follow, Kirsch's Giants and our Eagles. The Seahawks lost again. It's a utter, for lack of a better term, a shit show in Seattle. Just nothing seems to go right there currently. In the last few years, they've had no offense. The defense has been certainly not the old defense of the early Legion of Boom days. And the question has to be asked, as it was recently, whether Russell Wilson will move on. And 2 of the teams that were rumored to be going after him were the Eagles or the Giants. Now, Kirsch, I will start with you. It has been said that Sierra would prefer, his wife, prefer a large coastal city, i.e. New York. I don't know, the draft capital of the Giants. Eagles
They
certainly have some draft capital to use.
have a lot of draft capital. Gosh, I don't know. I've gone back and forth on this. I just don't know, right? I mean, I think I'm not a Daniel Jones apologist by any means. The guy can't stay healthy. He's had some turnover problems. And by the way, he's never had his full roster of talent around him. The Giants have been so beat up, especially in the talent positions, and the offensive line has been lousy for a long, long time. So I don't, my sense is a guy like Daniel Jones can go and find a spot somewhere with another team and be successful. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think he could do it in New York. The Giants, look, I'm generally not a fan of trading for a quarterback who, look, he's not a Tom Brady. He's not, he's certainly not Peyton Manning at the end of his career. Mm-hmm. He's not Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers gets moved. I struggle with what I think Seattle is going to want in terms of draft picks coming back their way for the Giants to make that move. Is he an upgrade from Daniel Jones? No question about it. I'm just not sure I'm willing to give up, 2 first rounders and, potentially more, or a first rounder and 2 second round. I just don't know if I'm willing to give that up for him at this point of his career.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat as an Eagles fan, especially with what we're seeing from Jalen Hurts, because there's a lot of promise with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, and it's fairly new, and there's definitely still things we need to fix and work on, but I genuinely like the base that we have and the direction that we're going. So at this point, we have all this draft capital. I want us to work on our O-line, work on our D-line, work on our secondary, maybe go out and get another. I mean, I love Devontae Smith. Our running backs are great. Get another offensive weapon if you want. I'd rather us focus on those in the draft, or maybe even tackle free agency a little bit, make a trade. But at the end of the day, I think the only quarterback that would be available that I would feel comfortable giving up some of our first rounds for would be Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think there's a shot that he would want to come to Philly if he was on the move. I think he'd want to go to a team that's a little bit more farther along. So in regards to Russell Wilson, I don't like the talk of him coming to Philly. He's not someone I'd want to give up all our picks for, because like Kirsch was saying, I think he's a little farther along Jalen Hurts talent-wise, so I think it would be – I just think us going in this quarterback rotation and us being this quarterback factory and never being able to kind of settle down and have something consistent long-term, it just keeps setting us back, and I just want to keep moving forward with what we have, and I think we can do that with what we have. So I'm hoping that we don't go off and make that move.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson is one of the few people that I said that if they were to move on from Jalen Hurts or trade Jalen Hurts, he's one of the guys I would want, because I love Russell Wilson, and the whole age thing doesn't even matter to me anymore, because these guys put so much into their body, and they have, the
quarterback front runners right now are Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady.
Right,
so age doesn't really scare me.
Right. So, and Russell Wilson is not someone that generally gets hurt a ton. I still think he's got 5-6 really, really high level years left. But yeah, I mean, the only reason I would do it over Jalen Hurts is because Jalen Hurts is in a fine year. I mean, they haven't beaten any good teams. They've only beaten bad teams. So it's, still something there. And my whole thing at the end of the day is, I don't care how good Jalen Hurts is, his best year will never be as good as Russell Wilson. I wholeheartely believe that Jalen Hurts as a passer is just not good enough, to do the things that Russell Wilson can do.
So if Russell Wilson wanted to come to Philly, would you make the trade?
Absolutely. I mean, because you probably give up Jalen Hurts and 2 first-round picks. Because the only reason I would say that the Eagles are slightly more attractive to the Seahawks than the Giants is solely because they have a
Pierre would
quarterback.
definitely rather live in New York. 100%.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
100%.
But I'm saying from the team standpoint of which would they rather do a deal with, the Giants, though, have two, like, at this point, top 10, top 5 picks. The Eagles will have 3 first-round picks, but they also have a quarterback that's somewhat usable on a rookie deal that I'm sure they would be fine having, at least for the time being. But, yeah, I would 100% do it because I think, again, no matter how good Jalen Hurts is, he will never be as good as Russell Wilson is at any point.
We'll see what happens.
Interesting offseason.
Yeah, there are going to be some big names moved around. I thought last year was crazy. I think this year might be even more nutty. So,
yes.
There's going to be no lack of news this offseason.
The winners, though, for us this past week, I would say was us, the fans, mainly because we got football Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Didn't have any last night unless you watched the Armed Forces Bowl, and then tonight. So
it was like 8 out of 10 days. 8 of the last 10 days we've had football games, NFL football games to watch.
Great. Should be like that all the time.
Fantastic. Except these games kind of put my life on the line. Like there was a couple that I was like, I don't know if I'm making it through this because it was a very up and down week. There was a lot of chaos.
I would agree.
Thanks.
Love the 7 o'clock starts too. Need to do that.
That was nice.
That needs to be.
I love Tuesday football. I'm such a fan.
Listen, I lived on the East Coast and I was young on the East Coast, so I could generally stay up. I don't know how people on the East Coast can stay up for the games that start.
I can't.
It's impossible.
I only stay up because I got a tweet.
Yeah, I mean it's just awful. I mean it's even on the Central Time Zone, I have a hard time staying up a lot of times.
No, I always said I went out to San Diego. I visited California for the first time ever a couple months ago. And I was there and I was like, I could never live here because I couldn't watch football at 10 a.m. I was like, I would not want to do that. And then the Super Bowl starting at 3. I don't know why that really bothered me. I was like, I couldn't live here. Like I would have to fly to the East Coast and watch the Super Bowl. I was like, this is too weird for me. I don't know. I'm also a night owl. I like being up late, so maybe that helps. But I don't know. The early times freaked me out.
Mountain time is the ideal time because you get like 11 o'clock is like the start time, and then like as long as the games are at 8, like 6 o'clock is like when the last game starts.
I think that's right because I can have a Bloody Mary at 11 and not feel totally
perfect. You have like brunch.
Yeah,
it's Sunday brunch.
Totally,
and just watch Red Zone. Great. People in Colorado and New Mexico have it right. Say that much. Let's preview tonight's game. A big one. Huge. 2 teams that are sort of opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of where they're going. The 49ers have been absolutely red hot.
Yes.
The Titans have been, for a number of reasons, on the downward spiral.
A little shaky.
What are your expectations? Kirsch, I'll start with you for this Thursday night battle.
Yeah, listen, you nailed you hit the head. You hit the nail on the head. There we go. So, but here's the thing. I think picking specifically NFL football games a lot of times is a lot like picking stocks, right? You want to buy low and sell high. And I think you have the perfect scenario here, right? San Francisco's won 5 of 6. Tennessee's lost 3 of 4. The only win in that time was against Jacksonville, who's obviously terrible. Tennessee's 5-2 at home. San Francisco's 3-4 on the road. Traveling cross country, short week. Sometimes, you make a big deal out of that. A couple of other interesting nuggets here. According to Action Network, 65% of the bets are on the Niners, but that 65% of bets is only corresponding to about 47% of the money. So the big players are taking Tennessee. And again, I think it's that perfect opportunity where you can buy them fairly low. We know they're a decent team. They might not be a great team, but I don't think San Francisco is a great team either. I think they're very good. I'm going to take my chance. I'll take the points in Tennessee.
Jordy.
Now another thing for Tennessee too, they activated AJ Brown off injured reserve today. He's going to be available in this game. So I think that is going to help them out a lot. Tennessee is one of the teams that really frustrates me because I feel like they lose to teams that they should easily be able to beat. And then in the big moments, they step up and they beat teams that you would think would beat them. So they're a tough team for me to bet. I'm taking the 49ers, so the Titans will probably win because I can never get them right. But I just think the 49ers have kind of figured it out. Another thing I would do tonight, take the over. The over's at like 44 on the app right now. I think this is going to be very high scoring. The 49ers' biggest like hole right now, their pass rush, it's not that great. So I think the Titans are definitely going to be able to put up points and they're going to be able to be in this game, especially with AJ Brown back. But the 49ers, to me, this offense has just been too explosive. So I think they're going to be able to outscore the Titans and come out on top here.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go the opposite of you on the under, mainly because I don't
Wow.
trust Tennessee's Tennessee's offense. Ryan Tannehill has not been able to perform well now that the offense runs through him. And San Francisco's defense looks similar to the one that, was in the Super Bowl. They get after quarterbacks, they get after the run game. They've been phenomenal over the last month. And against good defenses, ever since Derrick Henry went down, they just have not found their offensive footing. So for me, I think the easy route is to go San Francisco under, San Francisco to cover everything. And I just think San Francisco is way too hot, and Tennessee has no idea what to do against a good team when they don't have Derrick Henry.
So we're all going in different directions here. We all have very different expectations for tonight.
That's why we can look back
We
on
love
this
it.
and be like, oh, this is cool.
That's the best way to go.
Exactly. Continuing on to Saturday's games, because we have 2 games Saturday, and we also have a Christmas extravaganza contest for those games. It is a combination of NFL and NBA games, because of course the NBA well known for playing on Christmas. So we have a Christmas extravaganza on Saturday, 10 for 10. If anything gets canceled, though, of course, we will have to cancel the contest. Hopefully no games will get canceled due to COVID, but fingers crossed that we'll have a Christmas miracle.
Mayhem.
Everything will be fine. So make sure to join the Christmas extravaganza contest today. 2 good games. Actually, one really good game. One but we'll see. First one, Browns-Packers. Browns are sort of
depleted.
I guess, they're sort of dead at this point. But a lot on the line for the Packers.
Yeah.
Where is
there that much on the line? They're the only team that has clinched the playoffs.
Well, home field.
Well, they clinched the home field early, right?
That's true. I mean, even if Baker is available in this game, he hasn't been playing. He has been up. I'm also not sold on Baker. I'm not a Baker fan. I need to see a lot more from him. And this season has not done anything to convince me that he is this stud that a lot of people perceive him to be. I think he is their issue a lot of the time. There are a lot of games that they could have won if he played better. And so now if he's out there and his team isn't 100%, I think this is a very easy win for the Packers. They've been absolutely dominating. They win every game that they necessarily have to. Aaron Rodgers is a beast. He's an absolute menace this season. And it's so funny because this whole offseason, he was like in Hawaii and just kind of doing whatever he needed to do while all the drama was circulating around him. He wasn't at any training camp. He came back when he absolutely had to and then just walked out the season and is like, yeah, I'm still Aaron Rodgers. So, and I'm a big Packers. I love to root for the Packers. So I am taking them here to absolutely demolish the Browns on Christmas morning.
How about you, Kirsch?
Yeah, same. Look, first of all, my wife's family's from up in Wisconsin, not too far from Green Bay. Huge Packer fans in the family, including my daughter, my wife. Look, Green Bay's a great team. They're 11-3. They're also 11-3 against the spread, meaning that when they win, they generally cover. Cleveland's all sorts of banged up right now. Is Baker playing? I think when they're healthy and they have everybody around, they're a decent football team. They've beaten the Ravens, the Bengals, the Broncos. Just too many unknowns here. Weather shouldn't be much of a factor, which I think actually probably favors Cleveland in this scenario because Green Bay obviously is used to playing in terrible weather. The thing that scares me about this play is this is going to be a very public play. I don't know if you guys ever did like Princeton Review and heard of Joe Blogs or Joe Public, but this has to be the Joe Public play of the week.
Yeah.
And Vegas and the line makers aren't that dumb. So I'm a little scared. I just don't think they set this line quite high enough. I'll take the Packers. I'll take them up to minus 8.5. It's not there yet. I think it's 7.5 right now. If it gets north of that, I'd reconsider buying some back on Cleveland. But, at 7.5, I just think Green Bay is too good. Too many unknowns with Cleveland. I'll take the Packers. But, I'll tell you, I don't feel great about it. I think this is way too public of a play.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think along the same lines of the line, I thought the line would be 8.5, 9, seeing how the Browns have been playing, versus the Packers. Packers at home, gonna have, the Lambeau crowd. I haven't been able to see anything from the Browns that makes me believe that they'll pull any kind of upset, even in terms of keeping it close. I think this could get very out of hand very quickly, to be honest, depending
There's
on weather.
so many large spreads, though, right? There's a number of games this week at 10, 10.5. Aren't you a little surprised this number is kind of holding steady at around 7.5?
Yeah, I'm very surprised. Yeah, that's like my guess is they probably think that either Green Bay is going to play sort of too loose now that they have things locked up, that, maybe they think that Aaron Rodgers gets a little loose. Maybe they think it's just, a typical Christmas in Wisconsin, and it's, a very run heavy game, therefore it keeps the game closer because it's, blizzard. I don't know. I find it
like
very
40
weird.
and clear. It's going to be a nice day.
But like, exactly. I don't know. So I don't really understand why it's at 7.5. It makes no sense to me, but I'll put a lot of money on it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. That seems like a given.
Yeah. The other game's a lot better for a number of reasons. Basically,
this is a great game.
It's a pick 'em. And a lot on the line for both these teams. Indianapolis and Arizona. Indianapolis is closing the gap very quickly on Tennessee in the divisional race. Arizona's sort of fallen a little bit here and there, and letting the Rams maybe get back into things. So a huge game as the second one on Saturday. In this pick'em, Kirsch, where are you leaning?
I lean Colts here. Indy's been fantastic recently. Jonathan Taylor, you mentioned at the top of the show, he's got to be in at least the conversation of MVP, if not the front runner right now. The last time the Colts have lost to a team that did not have Tom Brady as its starting quarterback was actually back in October. Arizona's D's been awful. They gave up 30 points to the Lions last weekend, and then 30 the week before to the Rams. A few weeks earlier than that, they gave up 34 to Carolina. This is a classic game. We talked about, finesse teams, and we talked about pass happy teams against power teams. This is actually a classic power versus finesse matchup. In this instance, I actually like the power. Give me the Colts.
Jordy?
I have to take the Cardinals here. All I want for Christmas on this Saturday evening is for the Cardinals to get back on track. They're 1-point favorites right now. So that's basically saying this game is a coin toss and can go either way. If you're betting this game, just go money line, because there's no point in taking the 1 point. But I'm taking Cardinals here. I have a feeling that they're just going to be able to figure it out. If their defense, who has been terrible, can just figure out a way to put all of their efforts into slowing down Jonathan Taylor. Once the ball gets into Carson Wentz's hand, the Colts are 0-6 when Jonathan Taylor has less than 100 yards rushing. So if the Cardinals can just figure out a way to put the ball into Wentz's hands, make him throw, he's going to throw an interception here and there. It'll be a sloppier game. Get ahead here if you can, and just be the Cardinals and outscore them. That's all it's going to come down to.
Do you feel bad about Carson Wentz? Does that make you a little uneasy?
No, I want Carson Wentz to go off and do well. I loved him. I understand why the relationship had to end. I get it. It broke my heart. I cried when I got the notification that Wentz was traded. I literally shed tears. Like, I was sobbing. But I like the direction that the Eagles are going in. I think we needed a fresh page. We needed new head coach, new quarterback. Carson Wentz seems to be loving Indy, and I want him to be happy and do well. So no bad blood. I'm not intentionally rooting against him. I just want the Cardinals to win here.
Yeah, the whole Carson, he was made to live in Indiana. As someone who
I think he fits,
Indiana,
it's his vibe.
He was not made to live in Philadelphia.
Our fans ate him alive,
Yeah.
and he had no idea what to do.
Yeah. You can't put a guy from North Dakota in Philadelphia. It's
No,
never
it's
going to
bad.
work.
Yeah.
A million times over.
Rough.
Yeah, very rough. Yeah, I'm gonna have to side with Kirsch. I think as long as they can find a way to not have the ball be in Carson Wentz's hands a lot, which listen, you can say all you want. No one's found a way to stop Jonathan Taylor. So as much as teams want to put the ball in Carson Wentz's hands, they haven't found a way to do that a lot. So I don't see that changing. I know that Indianapolis defense has been red hot. Kyler Murray does not like to get hit. He does not like to get knocked off, his block. He's a smaller body, as we know. I think that Indianapolis defense knows there's a ton to prove in this one. If they can go on the road, beat the Cardinals, who have this high finesse defense, I think it'll give them a ton of confidence. And I'm glad they basically made this a pick 'em, because there really isn't enough to put one team in favor of the other. I would have understood if they gave, the Cardinals 3 points for being home. And they may still do
Cardinals
that. I
have
don't
been
know.
terrible at home, though.
Yeah.
Like their
That's maybe
wins, where they do the best has been on the road this season.
Which
So
is
that
shocking.
also,
Makes
yeah,
no sense.
it's
But,
a mess.
But yeah, I'm all in on the Jonathan Taylor MVP train. I think he has a huge game Saturday night. I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm going to guess at least a touchdown and 100 yards. That's my guess for Jonathan Taylor, and the Colts win. So we will see.
Dun, dun,
That's
dun,
Saturday night. To round out our NFL games, we have to do what we always do, our game of week 16 to watch. Now, I sort of already said mine, which was the Colts versus Cardinals. I think that is the game to watch of week 16, the most on the line. Jordy, you have a game that involves both of our teams with the Eagles and the Giants.
Yes, no, my game to watch this week, and especially with Kersh here, Eagles versus Giants. This is a big one. Eagles on the verge of, if the Vikings can lose a game at all, Eagles have a chance to break their way in. Giants, when I thought it was a guarantee that the Eagles were going to win a couple weeks ago, Giants got our upper hand. Now we're playing in Philly. The Giants are a little bit hurt. I don't want them to come in and do that to us again, because that was very, very painful. I cannot go through that again. It was terrible. So, Kirsch, what are your thoughts on Eagles Giants this upcoming weekend?
Let's get something straight right off the bat. Philadelphia is not a good team.
No, we're terrible.
November 28th,
we're not terrible. We're average at best.
Yes, they're average at best.
Yeah.
Lost to the Giants not even a month ago. Daniel Jones's last game that he played. Look, I mean, the Eagles, I'll give them some credit. They beat the Jets. They beat the Washington football team. Couple of nice wins against the Saints and the Broncos. But other than that, like, no quality wins. Losses to Vegas, Tampa, Dallas, San Francisco. If the Eagles were a college basketball team trying to get in the NCAA tournament, the selection committee would look at the resume and say, absolutely no way. But look, let's be realistic. The Giants are awful. And I mean really, really bad. I've been watching this team my entire life. I don't remember a team as dysfunctional offensively as this one. Look, they're serviceable with Daniel Jones. Without him, they have no shot. I guess I'm excited to see Jake Fromm play. I think he'll start. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they start him? You might as well start the guy. But look, ultimately, the Giants are not playing an NFL caliber football right now. I just don't see how they can turn it around. It pains me to say it, but at 9.5, the line actually came down from 10, which means somebody's putting some money on the Giants. I just don't see it. I think Philadelphia gets the job done.
Is that the game that you're like tuned into all weekend, or are you just done with the Giants?
I will always have the Giants on, and I'll be flipping back and forth. But I mean, that game's up against Buffalo and New England. I mean, for me, that's got to be the game of the weekend.
Yeah,
Buffalo, New England rematch. Buffalo gets to try and turn things around. They have just been so. I mean, I don't like Buffalo in this one. I've taken Buffalo out of my Super Bowl contenders, mainly because I can't run the ball. And you can't win in the playoffs without running the ball, especially in Buffalo. How do you not have a run game in Buffalo, of all places? But I am super intrigued to see how Mac Jones can sort of continue his hot streak, and how, Josh Allen can sort of put things on his back. He has to this weekend, right?
Yeah. Mac Jones needs to bounce back too. That game against the Colts, that was a game I went in there and I was like, why are the Patriots underdogs? And then the game started and I was like, oh, this is why the Patriots are underdogs. Their defense couldn't do anything. The offense was sloppy and terrible. It was gruesome to watch. And they started in that fourth quarter, they started to make this little comeback where you thought they stood a chance, but they just didn't. The Colts were much, much stronger. So, which is so different than what we saw in the 7 games prior from the Patriots. So I would like to see them get back on track. The Bills, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to sneak their way just in. But Dan, you're right. And it's so weird to say I can't see them being a Super Bowl team anymore. And that was like my Super Bowl lock. Like I was like, the AFC's locked up. The Bills have this in the bag. And they've just completely fallen off. And literally the only reason they've fallen off is because of their run game. Everything else is they had a top defense for most of this season. Josh Allen, we know how great he is. So all they need to do in this offseason is figure out a run game, get a solid running back, and then Bills are back in the Super Bowl conversation. But for right now, you just can't do it.
Yeah, well, that's just it, right? Because you're totally right. Like this Bills season has been, it's been like, everybody had such high expectations, and they've had a couple of disappointing losses, and they definitely don't look like the Bills of last season. But look, if they win this weekend, they're right back in the conversation, I think, right? I mean, look, I love Bill Belichick. He's the greatest coach in any sport of all time. Love what he's done with Mac Jones. He's turned him into like a really great game manager. But do we really trust him this time of year after Christmas, heading into January? Are we trusting Mac Jones after Christmas? I don't think I can. And I just don't think they have the offensive firepower. Now, Buffalo, you're right. They can't run the ball, and that is problematic. But their passing game is still, fairly decent. They have a great pass defense. None of the Patriots running backs scare me. I think the only reason why New England's giving points here is because they're at home. And look, they're only 3-4 at home this season. They haven't been a great home team. So I look, this is the chance. If Buffalo finds a way to win this game, I think they're right back into that conversation. They're getting 2.5 points or so. Give me the points. Give me the Bills. It's payback time. I think Buffalo gets back into the Super Bowl conversation after this weekend.
I'm going to be staring long and hard at my phone, just looking at that game, trying to decide until like the last second.
No, literally.
I don't know what to do with it.
The first time they played each other, I was so confident in the Patriots. I was like, they're going to win. I know they're going to win. And they played it exactly how I thought it was going to go. This time, and I'm not, Kirsch, I'm not on your level yet. I haven't given up on Mac Jones. Like I need, just because it was one game out of his last 10, even when they lost a couple, I still had faith in him. And last week was bad, but I'm not totally off the train yet. But if he has another iffy performance, then I might be like, all right, maybe he just needs a little bit more time. I mean, to ask a rookie quarterback to come in and take your team to the playoffs and win your division and become a Super Bowl, like that's asking for a lot. And I think he had a very impressive
He's been incredible. He's been incredible. He's had a great year, and he's got, obviously it's a great system for him. He's got the perfect coach. I look, I mean, like I said, this is put up or shut up time for the Bills.
Definitely.
I still think they're the better football team. I mean, I know, everything else has everything that you've seen up to date would prove that wrong, but it just takes this game, right? If Buffalo goes into New England and wins, right, the conversation shifts back to Buffalo.
Yeah. We will see. But going along with that, we also have Jason Tartick's Bills Mafia prediction game. So make sure ahead of the battle with the Patriots, you join in on Jason Tartick's Bills Mafia prediction game. Of course, that's going on all season until the Bills are out of the playoffs or out of the playoff run, whatever they end up doing. We will see. Huge this weekend, all 3 games, lots on the line for really all the teams involved. So we shall see. But that does it for NFL. And that does it for Kirsch. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Festivus evening.
Thank you, guys. Happy Festivus. Merry Christmas. Keep up the good work. Love the podcast, and hope to be on again soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
enjoy your
Thanks,
Christmas.
guys. Thanks, Jordy. Thanks, Dan.
No problem. See you later, Bob. All right. So that is Michael Kirschner, a.k.a. our boss. Been a long and short of it. NBA Christmas. Huge day for the NBA, as it always is. And the other part of our Christmas extravaganza contest on our UDDA app that we talked about a little bit earlier. 6 games, all from noon to 10:30 Eastern time, so you get NBA action all day long. And let's start with the first game of the afternoon for Christmas Day. The Hawks. We both took them.
Yeah.
Why did you take the Hawks? I know I took the Hawks. Why did you take the Hawks?
So honestly, my first two picks, and obviously we'll get to the next one next. My first two picks are dependent on if Trae Young and Giannis are cleared of COVID protocols,
That's fair.
because as long as they have their guys, they should not easily. The Bucks one is a little bit more complicated, but if the Hawks have Trae Young here, they win. And it's as simple as that. If on Christmas morning he is still unavailable, I might change my pick. But for right now, I feel confident that he'll be back. From what it's looking like, he should be able to be back. So I'm rolling with the Hawks as long as Trae Young is there.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that. Obviously, everything we do in terms of betting and picks nowadays is based on COVID protocols and
Who's
who's playing,
available?
who's
Yeah.
not, hours before. But yeah, the Knicks have been really bad recently, 3-12 in the last 15. Not that the Hawks have been very good. Both these teams have sort of been underwhelming compared to what they came into the season expectation wise. But the Knicks have just sort of reversed back to the Knicks of old. And yeah, as long as Trae Young is playing, I just love their offense. I know their defense is really, bottom third of the league as a team defense, but I think their offense is so strong that they can, if Trae Young is healthy and playing, that they should be able to handle the Knicks, who again are, not very good.
Yeah.
The next game, Celtics Bucks. The Celtics, I took them. And the reason I took them was one, to be different. I know the Celtics have not had the season that they have wanted to have. Or well, that's not
Yeah, I was
weird.
kind of surprised you went in that direction. I was like,
Yeah, I
"Okay,
was
I'll take the
too.
Bucks."
As much as because again, exactly, you know. But again, Milwaukee 3-4 this season. If Giannis isn't playing, that's part of why I sort of went that way. So obviously, if Giannis is playing, this changes everything. But I
Yeah.
was sort of hedging that Giannis wouldn't play, takes out a huge piece of Milwaukee's game plan, as we know. And I think the Celtics, a team that has a long history of playing on Christmas,
That's true. That's
they
true.
step up. Jason Tatum. It's a Jason Tatum day.
Yeah, no, I had to go with the Bucks here, and this is blind faith that Giannis will be back. But by this point, like you said, if he isn't playing, then you really have to kind of sit down and look at things a little bit more seriously. But I think with Giannis on this Bucks team, the Celtics have just been too shaky. And like you said, very like I was not expecting this from them this season. I thought they'd
Mhm.
have it a little bit more together. So yeah, it's a weird the NBA, it's very, very tough to kind of figure out right now just because it feels like every 15 minutes we're getting notifications with new guys in COVID protocols. So everything now you can basically sign anyone to try and just get your team through to play a game. So it's going to be a little chaotic with all of this going on, but long story short, if Giannis is playing, the Bucks are going to win. So
Yeah.
that's where I went here.
I'm with you on that. Next
Nice.
game, Warriors and Suns. Warriors are 3.5-point underdogs. I took them. Steph Curry has been unbelievable
Yeah.
this season. Just unreal. There's no other. He is single-handedly pulling them back. They've had a shaky December. 3 losses in the month of December compared to 2 all in the month of November. But I just always believe in Steph Curry on the biggest stages, especially on Christmas. I know he likes to show out. They won't have Andrew Wiggins. I don't think that's that big of a deal. The Suns are getting Devin Booker back, but I
Mhm.
still like the Warriors on the road in Phoenix.
Yeah, this game, I think you could literally flip a coin because I feel like both of these, it's a great matchup. And it honestly, compared to the rest of these games, this might be the best game on Christmas.
Mhm.
And I think it can easily go either way. I basically took the Suns because you already had the Warriors picked, and I want to try and get ahead of you. I like to beat you in these weeks, which doesn't usually come in the NBA ones because I'm guilty of always picking the Sixers and
That's true.
never
And they never
never
work out
having
for
it
you.
pay out for me. But I just think Devin Booker is going to be back. Steph's been great. I mean, obviously he's making history and doing what he does best, but I'm just going to roll with the Suns here.
It's fair. The next game, I think, is pretty easy. Fourth out of, or what number are we on? I don't even know. All right, Nets. The next
Four?
Nets Lakers. I don't know how many games they have. Nets Lakers. We both took the Nets. The Lakers suck. That's why I took the Nets.
They're bad. They're really bad.
All right, moving on.
Yeah,
that's
all it is.
The Lakers suck. The Nets are much better than them, and they're getting James Harden back. That's that.
Yeah.
All right,
End
finally,
of story.
Mavericks Jazz. I took the Mavs, who have been this season, but I just love Luka Doncic, and I envision a 50-point Christmas Day special for Luka on the road, but I think it's a steep hill to climb, but we're climbing it anyway.
Yeah, this one, I think it's interesting just because both of these teams have been shaky. I just feel like the Mavs are kind of on a more of a decline while the Jazz are like, I don't even want to say up, but like slightly positive. So I just went with them here.
Fair enough. So those are the 5 games on NBA Christmas Day: Hawks, Knicks, Celtics, Bucks, Warriors, Suns, Nets, Lakers, and Mavericks, Jazz, and all of those games are a part of our Christmas extravaganza contest. So make sure you join that, our NFL and NBA Christmas extravaganza contest on Christmas Day. We're gonna end what?
It's so much fun. There's so much going on.
It is a lot going on. We're going to end the show as we always do with our Bet of the Weekend segment. Jordan, kick us off.
I am going with the game that I talked about previously, which is the Cardinals versus the Colts. Like I said, it's a 1-point spread. I don't really you can take the Cardinals -1. I like the odds better of Cardinals money line anyway. I'm going Cardinals money line as my bet of the weekend. That is all I want for Christmas is a Cardinals win. I want them to get back on top here. This is the perfect time for them to come in and beat a team that has been very, very good over the last half of this season. Come in, show us who you are again. Prove to everyone that you are still the Arizona Cardinals. You are still Super Bowl contenders. You are still beasts. And make my Christmas Day that much more special. So Cardinals money line is my bet of the weekend.
Love it.
Thanks.
Mine is one that we just talked about. Nets. my bet of the weekend. My bet of the weekend. Nets over Lakers on Christmas Day. For some reason, the Nets are a 1-point underdog. That's basically a pick 'em. I have no idea why. Maybe it's because they're on the road. I don't know. But they're getting James Harden back. They have KD. Maybe, I don't know if Kyrie's allowed to play in California due to his unvaccinated stuff, but maybe he'll be playing. Probably not. But the Nets are getting guys back from COVID protocol. The Lakers have no options outside of LeBron unless he's playing 45 minutes, which he shouldn't be. AD's been Russell Westbrook is a jack. And so... Yeah, Nets by far. Spread, points, taking the under. I think it's at 227. Don't think it's going to go over. Take the under on that. So that is our bet of the weekend. Jordan has Cardinals money line. I have Brooklyn with the money line and to cover their. Well, they wouldn't need to cover because they're +1. Anyway, that does it for another episode 7 of the UDDA Winner podcast. Make sure, if you haven't already, to follow us on all our socials at UDDA_winner on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have an incredible Christmas, a great Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, all that stuff. Jordy, I know, is baking cookies tonight, so hopefully she has fun. And hope everybody enjoys their holiday weekend.
Yes, happy holidays, everybody. We'll be back next week.
Au revoir.
Bye.